Stampers. My name is Linda Bedinger and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Denver, Colorado. And this is my buddy Puccini, who helps me in the craft room, keeps me company, and generally gets in the way. Today I have a fun project card for you that uses more from this floral medley. And it's a simple card, a good template for almost any kind of designer series paper and almost any kind of card. Simple design, easy to put together, and so let's just get started. Okay, here is my design. This is the card that inspired me. We have a visitor to making this card. Lady that works with me, Sandy Ship, created this and gave me permission to do a video on it, and hers looks like this. And that's how corners get eaten. Puccini eats them. Okay, so this is the inside, this is the outside. And what we need to make this card is a little bit of DSP, and the supplies are really pretty simple. We have a card base that is, he may have to be evicted yet, 11 inches by 4 1/4, scored and folded at 5 1/2. And then we have a piece of white, basic white, that is 5 1/8 by, 5 1/8 by 2 1/2. Then we have 2 pieces of black that are 1 1/2 by 5 1/8. So there's 2 pieces like that. And then 2 pieces of this pretty designer series paper. Here's more of a look of the paper. Isn't that pretty? I think it's gorgeous. And these pieces are 1 and, let's see, this black, I said 1 1/2, but let me remeasure that. This is, let me make sure that's exactly right. Yes, it's just got the tiniest border. So that is 1 9/16 by 5 1/8, and then this one is 1 7/16 by 5. And we need 2 of these. And then I fussy cut out a couple of pieces of flowers to put on the card, and then another flower, a little bit of leaf, and we'll talk about those as we get to them. This piece of black is 4 by 5 1/4, and this piece of white is 3 3/4 by 5. All right, those are the pieces we need. And this is so simple to put together. I'm going to start with the front of my card here. I hope you can still see with Puccini here. Like I said, he might have to be evicted. We'll see if we can get it in there. I think maybe he has to be evicted so I can really show you what we've got going on and try to encourage him to go to his box and take a nap there. Good boy. All right. All right. So for this card front, we're going to take this piece of white that was 5 1/8 by 2 1/2, and we're going to put that right in the center of this card so that it has a similar margin on either side. And I had done, as I was putting this together, put together a little prototype, so it's got a little bit of tack glue on the back there. So I'm going to set this in place here and eyeball it right in the center. Okay, Then we're going to set up these black pieces so that they have a similar kind of margin around the edge and put that into place. One on each side of the white. So we're going to match up these pieces here right along that edge and even with the piece of white, one at the top and one at the bottom. And just line those up with the bottom of the card and line those edges up with the white part of the first layer here. Okay. There we go. All right. Next, we're going to put these pieces of designer series paper on the top of those pieces of black. And so we're going to center those right in here so they have a similar margin all the way around as well. Then this one, same thing. Now before I put this one down, I might want to do my stamping. And for this one, I have a happy birthday, and I'm using the stamp set called Blooming Phrases. I love these little tails on the words. And so what I did was I cut off the tail for my happy and attached it to the birthday and left the tail on the end for this piece. And I'm experimenting with a new black ink. I've heard a lot of people talk about the Versafine, that it's a crisper black ink, and I think I'm going to give that a try. I've been messing around with this one a little bit, and I think I like it a lot. So I'm going to ink up my stamp across here, and I did practice this a couple times on some scratch paper to make sure that it sat the way I wanted to. And so I'm going to ink that all the way across, and I'm going to put my happy birthday right in here. And let that sit for a second to let the ink settle in. And there we go. We've got a perfect happy birthday. Now I can put the tail back on that happy in my stamp case, and it'll be just fine. Oh, my buddy's back here. He might have to be evicted again. Okay, all right. So now we have this piece of designer series paper that needs to go on this one. And you can just put this whole first piece in place, then do your stamping, and then put this in place if you're at all worried about how that's going to come together. So I'm going to set this in so it's got a similar margin all the way around. There's our happy birthday. Now those margins aren't exactly great, but you can do a better job of lining that up if you'd like. All right, then I have these pieces for the inside, and I have the black to go in first, and I'm just going to add my snail and put that black in place right down here, centered on this side of the card with similar margins all the way around. And then put my white in for my message. And we're going to set that right down in here and get that set up inside. All right, then I have the pieces that I cut, and I'm going to bring those out. And the one I'm going to use on the inside is this little flower here, which I cut from the DSP. Here's the DSP again, and I cut one of these flowers, and then I cut a little bit of some greenery in here, and this is the piece I came up with. So the first thing I'm going to do is put some glue on the back of my flower, place it where I'd like to on the inside. Now you can add any more stamped messages that you'd like to on there. And I'm going to put a little bit of glue on these leaves and put that into place right in here as well. And there we go. There's my decoration for the inside. And it probably could use a little bit something more. But that's going to be up to you to put in whatever you'd like. Now, on the front, what I have is this flower, and then I cut out these petals because I thought I could add those to the back of this to make this a more full flower. So the first thing I'm going to do is put this one down here, right along in here, I think. And then I'm going to put a couple of dimensionals on the back of this one to raise that up and add a little bit of dimension to our flower. And I'm going to take my snips and I'm going to cut a couple of these bigger ones in half because this is just what I happen to have on my desk. And I'm going to take those pieces out and add them around the back of my flower. I am going to put this flower down in place here so that greenery sticks up and it looks like my flower has lots of petals, and it looks like I need a little piece under here to support that little petal, and I'm just going to cut a little piece of dimensional and put that in place right underneath here to support that petal. And there we go. Now I am going to take a little bit of some sequins, and these sequins are called Adhesive Back Shiny Sequins, and I thought I might take maybe this yellow that's up here because there's little bits of yellow in these flowers here, and I'm going to put one of these pretty good sized ones right in the middle of that flower to add a little bit of color and a little shine. And I'm going to add another one right down here on that yellow in the middle of that flower, and I'm going to add a couple more around the card. And there we go. Isn't that pretty? And very simple, easy card to do. I think it's very festive looking, very pretty, and it's got the message I want, and then I think I might add thinking of you today or something like that on the inside, but I thought I might add a couple of these. No, I think I'm going to stick with the yellow. I'm going to put one of those right there and put one of these right down here. And there we go. There we've got it. That is my project for the day. Thank you so much for stopping by my YouTube channel today. I do so appreciate it. And if you don't already have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, well, I'd love to be your demonstrator. And let's see here. I'm going to try and find my original sample of my card right there. And on hers, she did a thanks, and then she did a butterfly. I don't happen to have, I don't think, that butterfly die. And she did put some greenery on the inside, and I used the greenery that came in the paper so that it matched. So that's it for me. Thanks again for stopping by, and I will be back soon with more cards, more tips, and more projects. Bye.